Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back to another episode of your favorite show, The Island Shuffle.
I'm called Bean.
And I'm called James.
And together we have a podcast, and you're listening to it, so you might have an idea of what it's about. But what it's really about is a show called Lost, and every episode we watch a random episode of the damnable show Lost.
The really good show Lost. Famous for having 6 seasons.
Famous for having
and
6 very
121 episodes if you separate everything.
121 very consistent hours of television that are always peak TV. You might remember back when this was the show that everybody talked about, and now not a lot of people are talking about it, except for us mostly.
Just us, I think.
It's pretty much us. We have the market cornered. Oh, I forgot to pull up the thing that I was going to pull up, but I wholly intend to pull up a thing. Speaking of...
We have the market cornered.
Yeah, finally. The secret to...
The premier Lost podcast of the late 20-teens.
Yes, absolutely. I can safely say that this is the best podcast about Lost in the year 2018.
Wow.
I think I'm going to
Bold
lay that
claims
gauntlet
being
down.
made here.
Yes, indeed.
Listeners,
So
faithful viewers.
Our most faithful of viewers know that this is the one. And so here's what I wanted to say about the zeitgeist. And back when Lost was in its heyday, so I've brought the Lost Encyclopedia in here before. And that's obviously a tome full of a lot of minutia. A lot of...
I thought you were going to say manure.
A decent amount of manure, but just by virtue of the content it's dealing with. Boy, I'm going in on Lost, huh? So here's another resource. If you're out there and you don't have a giant tome that is the size of a poster or a portrait and as thick as a brick. You can also use the lostpedia.wikia.com, which was at the time the premier wiki source of Lost. And I've been having some fun, or I used to have a lot of fun, basically just going into Lostpedia just to like refresh myself and being like, what is this damn ass show? What are we dealing with? And oh boy. I just want to read you one of my favorite paragraphs ever, which is the introduction paragraph to John Locke, the John Locke article on lostpedia.wikia.com. John Locke was a survivor of Oceanic Flight 815 and a previously disabled man who found himself able to walk once he arrived on the island. He, Rose, and Walt Lloyd were the only people among the survivors that wanted to stay on the island, believing his special destiny was to protect the miraculous place. In his service to this cause, he pushed his friends away, committed murder, and eventually lost his life.
Oh, that's sweet. Terry O'Quinn really went down a path.
He really went down a path. Just like looking at that made me go like, wow, that's Locke, huh?
Right up until the last sentence, it's like, oh yeah, I get it.
That's Locke, baby.
And then, yeah.
Then you realize, oh, he's a murderer.
He is a murderer. Who's he murder?
He murders that pilot who tries to rescue them. He murders, I feel like he has at least 1 or 2 other, like, maybe just random other murders, but, like...
Good for him.
He has a handful of murders under his belt, I think.
He's got a handful of murds.
Yeah, you gotta hand it to him. He's a murderer.
He is. He's got it in his heart. Confirmed.
And then
you heard it here first. The FBI should be chasing him, not Kate.
I remember reading that paragraph and thinking, "Damn, I want to think about Lost some more because it's been a while." And then I approached you about this podcast, and here we are, a year later.
A whole year later.
This is
it has been a year.
It has been a year. I don't think it's a year exactly to the day.
A bit over a year, but
it's 52 solid episodes, so I'm fine counting this as our 1 year anniversary.
A year's worth of content.
A year's worth of content for you, the listener. And
you're welcome, everybody.
You know what?
You asked for it, you got it.
The other reason I wanted to start this podcast was because people are clamoring for it.
People are like, where's the Lost content?
Where could it have gone? I miss it.
The show only ended 10 years ago. Where's all the content?
Is it done? It can't possibly be done.
It's not done. This is heaven or hell that we're talking about.
There's always more
The
conversation.
Bible didn't stop after they finished writing it.
Nuh-uh. Those churches kept it going, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, seriously. So
we're like the church.
We're like a big church with like marble floors and like a monk walking through, and you think like, where does he do his grocery shopping?
Yeah, and then you learn in an elaborate, painstaking flashback that he never grocery shops because a grocery clerk murdered his aunt or something.
Yeah, totally. And that is why he is now crashed on an island.
Exactly. What episode did we watch this week? Sorry for that long tangent. I just wanted to thank all my viewers. Our viewers.
Season 2, episode 23, Live Together, Die Alone, Part 1.
This is Part 1 of 2 of the season finale of Season 2.
We have already covered Part 2.
We have also covered the episode before this one.
So we are really just filling in the meat of the sandwich.
Exactly.
Here.
And
the burger of the ham, if you will.
And
the hamburger.
And frankly, this is not a bad episode at all, but it is also like nothing really happens in it. It's a lot
very much setup oriented without any of the payoff.
Exactly. So it's not a great hour of television to watch, I'd say. But
we do get some.
We do get some stuff.
Fun things.
Yes. Where do you want to start?
Well, in terms of flashback, this is centered around Desmond.
Yes.
And I think I'd like to just talk about Desmond because he really steals the show in this one.
He sure does. Do you want? So we'll start with his flashbacks then.
Let's do his island stuff. I feel like that is really, really beautiful.
Yes.
Stuff.
Yes.
Because he starts it off with a bang.
Yes. So first scene, the gang sees a boat approaching on the horizon, and they're like, "Wow, rescue! We're here!" And so immediately,
this is it.
We've done it. End of show. We win. We're not lost anymore. So right away, Sawyer, Jack, and Saeed take their shirts off. We get a rare shirtless Saeed scene, which is...
We get a lot of shirtless Sawyer, a little bit of shirtless Jack, never shirtless Saeed. And it's like, I like his nips and belly too.
They're good.
Show me those nips and belly.
Please and thank you. All we want is some of that sweet, sweet nip and just a bit of that belly.
Just some of that beautiful belly.
Sometimes the creators of a show know what the audience wants.
And this is one of those times.
This is one of those scenes. They arrive on the boat. Their guns are drawn. They're coming up. They're sneaking. And then gunshots ring out. And several gunshots. And then click, 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 click. The gun is empty. And Jack kicks the door open. And who is it? But a shit-faced Desmond.
Desmond is hammered.
He's hammered.
And he's like, hey, brother.
He's listening to opera super loud.
Yeah.
He's just like, you guys, fuck, dude. This is crazy.
I'm just getting lit on my boat all by myself.
He's just getting lit. For context, in the season opens with them entering the hatch for the first time. Desmond's there. And Desmond kind of gives him the lowdown on the hatch before basically fucking off.
Yeah.
For the whole season.
He just leaves.
And now he's back. And he's on a boat, and he's hammered. And the next scene we see... He's hammered still. He's still drinking some wine somehow.
He is drinking some white wine now, whereas I think in the start he has a red or a bottle of hard liquor.
Yes.
So he has a stash.
He has
established.
He has an established stash. And
him and Sawyer are the only two people with established stashes at this point. And surprisingly, no one ever grows a mustache during the show.
No.
So it's just two established stashes.
Nobody has a mustache in this show, do they?
No, I find that's
grotesque.
Really some representativeness that they're missing out on.
I want to say we see Tom with a mustache at one point.
Oh, yeah, we do see Tom with a mustache. He has an established stash as well.
Yes, thank goodness. So in Tom, you have queer representation and stash representation. So
yeah, they
you have it all.
Put it all into one.
You have it all, really, which is why Tom is my hero. But he's not in this episode, unfortunately. But drunk ass, plastered ass Desmond is, and he just spends his time he just
drinks the whole way through.
Jack comes up and is like, you had a boat. You could have left. I don't know why you came back. And Desmond's like, I tried to leave. I followed a straight line, and you know what? I got the first piece of land I see, not Fiji, not Australia. Nuh-uh.
It's here.
It's this stinking island.
Right back here. Everything leads to here.
Everything leads to here.
We're in a snow globe.
I believe that there's no outside world and we're stuck here. And so that's why I'm plastered. Which I'm going to say that if you're as plastered as you are, like there's two possible outcomes here. Desmond got on the boat, immediately just was shit-faced, just circled around the island.
Awful at boating, well, shit-faced.
Exactly. That's the second possibility, which I think is almost funnier, is he does this. He is telling the truth. He was following a straight line, and then still somehow got sucked back into the island. And so as soon as he sees the island on the horizon, wastes no time getting blackout.
Oh, yeah, he's like, holy shit.
Just like shotguns 5 4 locos. And
I think that is more likely.
That's the scenario I like to envision in my head.
Because they spot the boat pretty far out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question, actually. We'll have to email JJ about that one.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Desmond Hume how he feels about that.
Is that his actor name?
The actor is Henry Ian Cusick.
I call him Desmond.
I call him Desmond.
Yeah.
He's Desmond to me
He's
in my
Desmond
heart.
to me. Because I just watched this show.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't watch his other stuff.
I don't know if I've ever seen him in anything else. He's great in this show. That's for
He's
damn
pretty
sure.
good.
He's pretty damn
one of
alright.
the better characters. He
Absolutely.
says he has a catchpatch.
Yeah.
He's handsome.
And in this
He's
episode,
always looking for Penny, and it's like, look for $1, buddy. Set your sights a little higher.
imagine Penny rescues them. Penny's finally like, I found you, Desmond, the lost love of my life. Oh my God, this has been several seasons in the making. And Desmond looks her in the eye and says, sorry, Penny. I found a new girl, and a much more attractive woman named Dollar comes out and is like, "Hey, I love Desmond more."
Praise the almighty dollar.
Boy, that sounds like society to me.
Yeah, seriously.
Boy,
we better not speak too loud about that, or else they'll come for us.
Who?
The capitalists.
Yeah, they love the dollar.
They hate podcasts because they make no money.
Exactly. They look at it and they say, what's the market going to say about this?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the NASDAQ going to say about this?
What's the NASDAQ going to do about this? What's the Dow Jones response to this one?
Are you guys up any points?
No.
Because listen, it's all about the almighty dollar. Anyways.
The NASDAQ.
The
North American
stock.
That's all we know. If someone knows, tweet at us.
Please.
At the Island Shuffle.
Directory, accounts, and queer representation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That one is for Tom.
I think,
and
yeah.
his mustache.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Next Desmond scene I think we get is him just like, gosh.
Shit-faced again on the beach.
He's shit-faced again. Claire, so this is maybe my favorite scene in the episode, is Claire is tending to Aaron and giving him a vaccine, giving herself a vaccine. And then we cut to just Desmond sprawled in a tree, full daylight.
Truly like a man sitting in an alley.
Chest out.
Yeah.
Chest fully out, bottle of wine in hand, shouting.
Just like matted hair.
Just like eyes like glossed over.
Yeah.
And he just hoots like, hey, you know that vaccine's fake. It's fake.
We have all had this experience with an individual.
We're just trying to vaccinate ourselves.
Yeah.
And then along comes a drunk Scottish ragged man
who has been discharged and lost the love of his life.
Yes.
And he convinces us that vaccines are bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So in this episode, we learned that Desmond is an anti-vaxxer.
Yep.
And it's kind of a stain on his otherwise rich character a bit, huh?
And Claire's just like, yeah, whatever. Okay, see you later, buddy.
Bye. I believe in science, please and thank you. Yeah. So what actually happens is, so he does that, and Claire's just like, and then Desmond keeps going and is like, how's your baby? Who's the father? And Claire's like, father ditched the baby. And Desmond's like, well, you know what? Maybe he knew he'd be a shitty dad, so maybe he was trying to save you the trouble. Maybe he was doing what he thought was best for the kid. And Claire's like, he was doing it for himself, Desmond. Yeah. Come on.
He didn't care about the kid.
This is our first and maybe only meeting ever, and it's just Desmond berating.
Is this really the conversation we're gonna have?
It's just Desmond berating Claire and Claire having none of it, which I appreciate.
Yeah,
I appreciate Claire being like, dude, shut the fuck up.
In her 1 minute of screen time this episode.
Yes. I think
and we get Desmond drinking and Locke comes up, I think.
Yes, that's another thing that happens is Desmond is chugging one, Locke comes up and he's like, hey, pass the bottle over here. And Desmond's like, oh boy, you boys still pushing that crazy button that I left you guys with? And Locke's like, yeah,
you
man.
You know it, brother.
And then Locke says, here's the kicker. Here's the rub, buddy. Here's what it is. I know for a fact that button doesn't do shit. I found this fucking station out there, and they got notes. They were watching us. They had cameras set up in the hatch watching us. We were just part of a psychological mind game, dude.
We were the experiment.
We were the experiment. And this is I'm gonna divert to this scene because I want to talk about an earlier scene where so he's referring to Echo now. He says like, now Echo started pushing the button instead of me, and now I'm bummed about it. We get an earlier scene where Echo is pushing the button, and Locke comes in and says, you know what? You're a slave to that button just like I was. It's fake, and I know it is. And Echo's just like, I'm going to keep pushing it, actually, so it's fine. Locke attempts to break the computer. Echo stops him, wrestles with him, and hauls him out of the hatch and says, don't come back. While he's hauling Locke out of the hatch, Locke is just like, you're never going to be free. You're never going to be free. As long as you're pushing that button, you're just a puppet on a string.
Puppet on a string.
A puppet on a string, which is good. I love that Locke is fucking super Banksy now.
Totally, yeah.
He's very anti-capitalist.
The metaphor man.
The metaphor
magnet. He doesn't go out looking for them. They just find him.
They just suckle right up to him just fine.
Oh, they just suckle on the 8 little teats that he has on his belly like a mother pig.
That's true. One of the more remarkable qualities of I don't know if this was a feature of Terry.
Or I think it's a Terry thing that they.
It's a Terry thing. Did he go through surgery for the role and now he just has them?
Yeah,
Is that,
totally.
I think that's sort of the thing. Yeah, Terry has now 8 of nipple.
Yeah,
because they thought
fully lactating.
And the whole show. That's why he's always wearing a shirt. But whenever he isn't, they're just going.
They're just going, leaking out all over the place too. He can get 6-foot squirts in the air.
and here's the crazy thing is none of the other characters ever mention this. Nobody ever says hey, stop putting milk all over my stuff, Locke. They just are fine with it.
Do you know what comes out of him?
Well, that's the thing. I never really knew because this is one of the things that, you can say oh, they answered all the things, but this is one of the things they never answered is why Locke has 8 of nipple. I
heard that he squirts out a mixture of cream soda and chocolate milk.
Damn. That adds up. That makes sense.
It could be true, right? Because he has a creamy, smooth head.
Yes.
And
that's how I describe bald heads, as creamy, smooth. Smooth like cream.
And he has... I don't know.
Yeah, I'm wondering how you're gonna
milk as well.
He does love. You always see him with a glass of chocolate milk in his hand.
Yeah, always, all the time.
Yeah,
because it's just leaking out for free.
Oh,
that's not true. I made that up, listeners.
Yeah,
don't fall for all the tricks.
Yeah,
sometimes I hope that you knew that one wasn't true, just based off of the absurdness of it. I hope that you can spot a goose when you see one in a flock full of pigeons.
I truly, yes, that was a test, and if you believed it the whole time, then you gotta think about the way you process information.
Then you're really fucked up.
You might be a little fucked up, my dude.
Then I will have to take the watermelon helmet off of my head that I wear.
Yeah.
24 hours a day.
You do wear that 24 hours a day, and it's visible in every picture of you.
We will have to get off of our podcasting pogo sticks. And
it's really hard to bounce up and down and then still talk into a still microphone and have it register clearly. But I think we've kind of gotten there after 52 episodes.
But if these people can't tell that, one of the things spoken in the past 5 minutes was untrue. The one that seemed ridiculous.
Yeah, the most ridiculous one was clearly just a jape and a goof 'em up.
This is 2 truths and a lie.
Yep.
We got pogo sticks, watermelon helmets, and
of course.
John Locke's
8 titties.
You've been listening to 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah, that's the podcast's name now. That's what it is. Meanwhile, now that Locke's been kicked out, he's chatting with Desmond, and Desmond says,
I'm a hacker now.
And so...
Because it's good for the plot?
Yeah, exactly. Basically, Locke is like, we're going to sober up, we're going to trick Echo, and we're going to get him out of there, and we're going to see once and for all what happens when the button doesn't get pushed. And they go in, and they shut off the lights, and they lure Echo out. And then Desmond, fiddles two wires together, and the blast doors lock.
Yeah.
Desmond and lock in while Echo is outside. And Desmond's like, cool. And then later Desmond's like, wait, that guy was a priest? What?
And then you never see them again.
You never see them again. That's how it ends. That's just how it ends. There's no way to know how that turns out because it's not like we've seen it. Before we dive into the flashbacks, do you want to talk about the other main
let's
plot?
do the rest of the island.
Yeah. So the other plot revolves around Michael swindling the four boo bozo heads and tricking them into going to the others.
This is one of the better storylines, in my opinion, in the whole show.
Really?
I love watching Michael be a snake to get Walt back.
It's
because the things he's done so far is he released Henry Gale, who is Ben Linus.
I want to say we've seen most of the episodes of this arc of Michael snaking. I don't think we've seen the actual act of him releasing Henry Gale.
I don't think we saw that one,
but
we saw the rest.
I think we've seen the immediate aftermath and everything after as well.
Yeah, we saw before, too, whenever he got convinced to do that. So he released Ben Linus, killed Ana Lucia, Libby,
and then agreed to the others to
lure our favorites.
To lure our four that features Hurley, Jack, Sawyer, and Kate, and the others basically say, "Hey, if you bring these four boys to us, we'll give you your son back." And so Michaels came back to the camp and was like, I found them. I know where they are, and it's got to be these four guys, and we're going to go, and we're going to get my son. We have the drop on them. We have the advantage.
We got to do it my way. I'm the dad.
Exactly.
And everyone's like, this is a bad way.
Yeah,
other people will go.
Yeah,
Hurley's useless in this situation.
Exactly. People are like...
And we always never want Kate to go to the thing.
Exactly. Like, Saeed's like, I want to come too. But Michael's like, no, Saeed. It's got to be this.
I'm the dad.
So Saeed has tipped Jack off that...
Michael has been
compromised.
That is the word they use, which I like.
It's a good word, and it's true. But they're still like, we got to go along with it anyway. So they go on a journey, and shortly into the journey, they are tailed. Yeah, they realize they're being tailed by two others. And Kate's like, hey, don't look now, but we're being tailed. And he stops and lifts up her leg with the attempt to tie her shoe, but really she's pulling out a gun. And Sawyer, looks back, and, Kate is explicitly like, don't be suspicious, don't tip them off. And then immediately just unloads a clip.
Firing,
yeah. Honestly, not great.
And the people tailing them are awful and clumsy, they just try and run for a second.
They're not good. Do they both get killed?
One of them gets killed, one gets away.
Yes, exactly. And so suddenly the whole idea was like, oh, we have the drop on them, but they're following us now, so how could that be? And so Jack basically says, well, how could that be? Basically what happens is they're like, we should go after that last guy because he's going to warn the others. And Jack says, there's no point. They already know. Isn't that right, Michael?
Tell them, Michael. Tell them.
Tell them,
Michael.
And so what they end up doing is Michael ends up kind of being like, I don't know what you're talking about. But Jack just lifts him up.
Tell him.
Stellum Artois.
Stalin.
And he says, they said they'd give me back my son, my boy. I had to do it. They gave me a list.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. And they're just kind of everybody's kind of reeling from the revelation that Michael has betrayed them. And you get a lot of good reaction shots. And
especially from Hurley.
The real killer of this scene that is good and that I like is Hurley being putting two and two together and realizing, oh, you killed Ana Lucia and you killed Libby for this. And did you do it? And Michael kind of stammers and being like, I had no choice. And also Libby was a mistake and I had to, I didn't have time to think. And Hurley rightfully puts Michael in his place and says, but if you did have time to think, you still would have killed her. Isn't that right? And Michael once again reverts to but I had to do it for my son. And as we've harped on Michael spending season 2, he goes from season 1 kind of not the most rich character ever, but
fine ensemble cast member.
He contributes. He has a complicated history with his son, a complicated relationship with his son, and that serves to like make him a kind of an interesting, like, you know, kind of a hard-nosed guy, but, you know, overall a real character. Whereas in season 2, he becomes just like so tunnel visioned on my son.
Yeah, the my son machine.
Yeah, and this is the only time I really kind of appreciate it, because I appreciate it like taken to its logical conclusion and seeing him just like fucking like squirm and see everybody just be like, this is not worth it.
Yeah, and finally like addressing the things that he did in the name of like his own fucked up kind of justice.
Exactly.
Which is cool, and it poses interesting questions, and the whole situation's so tense. And it was like the first time I thought they did something thoughtful with that plot point of like, you're like, well, if I was in Michael's situation, what would I have done? I don't know.
Exactly, yeah. And if I was in Hurley's situation, what would I have done?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a pretty good scene, I think. Until well, no, it
stays good until the scene changes.
It stays good for the rest of the scene, I think, but knowing what we know makes it pretty funny. We'll explain. Here's what happens. Hurley also puts 2 and 2 together and realizes, oh, Jack, you also knew that that Michael was compromised? Why did you leave us out here? I'm leaving. I'm going back. And Jack says, no. We got to keep going. The others can't know that we found out about Michael. Yeah. They have to think we still trust Michael. That's how it's got to work. And Hurley's like, no, fuck off. And Jack says, listen, you have to trust me. I wouldn't have brought you all along if I didn't have a plan. And that's the scene. And so it's like, oh shit, what's Jack's plan? But of course, you and I both know
his plan is nothing.
His plan is nothing. The way this plays out is they get immediately shot by the others, and Jack unloads a full clip into a bush, and then they get captured.
They get captured and then taken to cages.
Yeah, not a good plan, dude.
It's cool, though.
It's still a good scene.
I like that Jack is dumb.
Yeah, I like it. I like to see it.
It's like, I have a plan. What's your plan? Nothing. But he does have a slight aspect of a plan with the third and final plot going on.
Yes, that's true. The third and final plot of the island is basically, since Saeed can't come along on the expedition, Saeed decides, oh, here's a free boat. I'm going to take this boat and go around, catch up, like basically get to the others' camp before they get there. And guess what? We can get the drop on them from 2 sides this way. And I can scout this out, and it'll be good. I'm going to take Jin along because he's a sailor.
He's a boatman.
And I'm going to take Sun along so she can translate.
Yeah.
And they go on a sailing adventure.
They see a big foot.
They see a large foot. Saeed looks at that and says, wow, why is there a statue of a foot? Pretty fucked up. Oh, well, better not think about it for 5 seasons. And then we find out it's Jacob's house.
And that's it. That's their whole subplot.
That's their whole subplot. Yeah. It's really like we said, set up for when they pull up to the camp and go, it's the fake camp. Oh
no, the plan didn't work.
Rip. So that's the island stuff.
That's the island stuff. It's okay.
It's fine. There's nothing like objectionable about it. There's a pretty good scene of Locke crying on a tree after he gets kicked out by Echo. That's pretty good. But yeah, overall the highlight of the island stuff is seeing Desmond just like
the drunk man.
Desmond, the just town drunk. Desmond just rolls into town.
Yeah.
Have like a full like 80% of the camp has no idea who this guy is. Yeah. And he's just shit-faced all day.
The whole way through, like rambling like a lunatic.
Just harassing the person with the baby.
Then he's like, we're going to take the system down.
Yeah.
And they do.
Yeah.
And then they blow up the
hatch. And then Desmond remembers, oh, wait, the hatch is real. And then it's fine.
Yeah, I have previous experience that proves this. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
But then, so Desmond has the backstory, too.
Desmond has a backstory.
And it is fucked.
There's a lot to it, and so we better get right into it. The first thing we see is him getting removed from military prison, given his belongings, including a copy of a Charles Dickens book, and he says, like, the guard gives him shit and is like, you should have brought that in. I bet you were bored. And Desmond says, well, guess what? I love Mr. Charles Dickens, and this is the only one of his I haven't read, and it's going to be the last thing I read before I die, so I'm saving it. And if I brought it in, I might have been tempted. And the guard is immediately like, shit plan, buddy. All right.
Weird.
All right, fuck off. And then he dishonorably discharges him from the Scottish military.
Which I don't think we ever find out why.
No, I think it's implied that he deserted, but I don't think we ever really see that for real.
I thought he main coursed.
Oh, he might have appetized.
Yeah, he entreed.
So then he leaves the prison, and there's a limo outside, and it rolls down his window, and he says, "Get in the car." And who is it? But old
Charles Whitmore. Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese Whitmore.
Chuck E. Cheese Whitmore himself. And while we may know him as a antagonistic rival to Ben, and also a person who sends a freighter to the island to kill everybody for some reason, right now he's just a dude who hates Desmond.
Yeah, he is just the man who's trying to ruin Desmond's life.
Yes, he basically pulls him in.
That's true. There's no established connection yet between Whitmore and the island.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
You and I know that Whitmore is part of the island's grand lore. Right now, he's just some asshole.
He's just a rich man who hates the fact that Desmond and his daughter are in love.
Yes, that's exactly right. And so he says, "Hey, here's all the letters that you sent to Penny," and it's like fucking like a.
It's like 1,000 letters.
It's 1,000 letters, and he's like, I committed the illegal crime of intercepting these letters.
Yeah.
So that my daughter could be better off without you.
I like the term illegal crime.
I mean, name me a legal crime, and then I'll maybe start saying that instead.
I guess so. You'll start saying illegal crime instead of illegal crime.
I'll start saying a legal crime instead of
committed illegal crime.
Instead of I committed an illegal crime.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, well, you can commit any legal crime if you really put your mind to it. So here's what it is. Here's the deal. Box full of letters. And Winmore also says, here's a box full of money if you never talk to my daughter again. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to run away. And I know that because you're a coward, buddy.
Idiot.
You're a freaking coward. Next scene. Desmond's in an American coffee shop. He tries to pay for a coffee. And
he has no money.
He has Europe money. And he's like, whoopsie daisy. And then a stranger says, "Don't worry, I'll cover it. It's $4. You seem nice." And who's that stranger? But
Libby.
It's Libby in a wig, baby.
Dead old Libby in a wig.
Dead Libby in a wig is out here to talk to Desmond, and they get to talking. And
they get talking immediately.
Yeah,
he's like, "Thanks for the money. Thanks for the $4.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you have $42,000 more dollars."
And Libby's like, "What? This I gotta hear.
Let's sit down together, stranger.
Let's sit down and chat.
I want to hear about your money woes."
And Desmond says, "All right, well, so this rich philanthropist has a daughter who I love. Okay, it's pretty simple so far. Doesn't want me to see this daughter. Keeps her away from me. So what I'm thinking is that I'm going to enter his around the world sailing race. I'm going to get in shape, and I'm going to enter his sailing race, and I'm going to win it, and then that will win back Penny?
Fix everything.
That will,
yeah.
Yeah? What? Hey, Desmond, what? Hey, Desmond. Hey. Are you sure?
Bit of an ill-conceived plan.
Not really, don't really know where, this is literally the, thing of, step 1, buy a boat. Step 2, enter sailing race, sponsored by the father of the woman I love. Step 3, several question marks. Step 4, several question marks.
Win love.
Yeah, love. It's literally just...
Just send her an email.
Yeah, call her.
You idiot.
I don't know how, and so, because it's, okay, so here's what it is. You know what, let's finish the scene and we'll get to it. Let's finish this scene, because there's a lot to unpack.
This scene's fucking crazy.
This scene's nutso. And he says, and Desmond's like, so the problem is I can get in shape, and I'm going to do that, but I don't have the money, and I don't have a boat. And then Libby's quiet, and Libby's like, I have a boat. It belonged to my dead husband, and it's named the Elizabeth. And I want you to have it because I'm so
fucking
moved by your
crazy.
nutso plight.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. She gave away her dead husband's boat. He died a month ago.
He died a month ago.
She is giving away his boat.
Died a month ago.
To a man who couldn't pay for coffee.
Died a month ago. Named the boat after you. and then you're just like, yeah, this guy can have it.
This guy should have it.
This
He
guy
wants to sail.
He wants to sail around the earth.
She had this boat, and for 30 days, she was like, where will I find someone who wants to sail?
I cannot possibly find anybody who wants a boat.
I have this boat. I can't even give it away. No one wants
No
it.
one
I
wants
asked strangers. I asked people with no money for the country they're in.
So it's really interesting because Libby I don't think ever gets like a proper episode dedicated to herself.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see this glimpse into
This
her
is the
life.
first and maybe only flashback we get of her.
I
Right?
think so, and so it's nice to be because it's interesting where you see like, okay, you can kind of infer that she had a husband.
Yeah.
Her husband passed away, and then she spent a month wandering the streets of America, begging people to take a boat.
Like, I want to get rid of this boat for free.
Yeah, please
Fucking
take my
ridiculous.
boat.
Libby.
It
made me think less of Libby.
It was a bizarre scene.
It's a mess.
It might be the last scene we ever see of Libby, which is depressing.
Yeah.
So Desmond now has a boat. Desmond has money. Now he's just got to get in shape. So Desmond has a plan, and his plan is to jog up and down a stadium a lot. That's how it's done. That's how you get fit. So he pulls up, and who else pulls up but Penny? Penny's there.
You know, the woman he's trying to impress.
The woman he's trying to win back because Widmore has apparently forbidden them from seeing each other. Well, here she is.
Penny's like, I tracked you down from across the globe.
I found you. You're here. And so what do you say we like it's not like we should fuck off and love each other. Like, she's getting remarried, as I understand. And also she's upset that he never wrote.
Yeah, she's like, where were you this whole time?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, instead of
see you in a year.
Instead of being like, oh, your dad intercepted all the letters I sent you. Ask him about it. Also, I love you dearly, and I've
gone to these great lengths to try and win you back.
I've got a boat now. I love you. Like, this whole I need to race around the world to win you back.
He doesn't need to.
He does not need to.
I think maybe in his mind, if he wins the race, then Charles Whitmore will be so impressed that he will let Desmond.
I think that's what it is.
Be with Penny, but it is established that Penny is getting married to a different person soon.
Yes.
Meanwhile, she has tracked down her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
And is trying to find him. So she's
Yeah.
clearly not over it.
Yeah.
And his response is, "Duh, I'll wait until after you're married and then try and win you back." It's
exactly.
Come on, timeline is you're
doesn't
dumb, Desmond.
It's ridiculous. Go get married, and then I'll win a sailing race, and then see how that makes it all.
Yeah,
work
exactly.
out.
When that solves everything.
What the shit? I remember loving this episode back in the day. I remember being like, "This is so powerful. It's a story of love," and it's so
ridiculous
nonsense. Oh my god, it's nutso. Anyways. So they have that dumb conversation, and then the race around the world happens. But Desmond's sailing, and it's going bad. Storms happening, waves, splash, 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 and crack back ahead on a thing and get knocked out. And then smash cut 2, Desmond washes up on the island, the famous island that we know and love, and he's getting dragged through the jungle. And oh no! And he wakes up in the hatch, and Buddy unzips his hazmat suit, and he says, "Oh no!" And who's this guy? But a fella named Kelvin.
And Kelvin is the Melvin.
Kelvin is Melvin, and he says, "Are you the guy to replace me?" And Desmond's like, "I don't know what the fuck this shit is, dude. This is crazy." And then Kelvin goes to push the button, and Desmond's like, "That's weird." And that's
it.
We get, I think, one more scene where Desmond's watching the orientation film over and over again. And he says, "Whoa, there's something edited out of this. Who did that?" And Kelvin's like, "Some other idiot. Don't worry." And that's it. That's it.
It's fine. It sets stuff up.
It sets some stuff up. I do like, because in the second part, I really do, as much as there's like weird inconsistencies with that story, I do like a lot of the like Desmond and Kelvin in the hatch scenes.
Yeah, me too. It's interesting. Kelvin is an interesting character.
Clancy Brown is great in that role, and he also, so I wish they kind of brought that guy back, and we cropped him up in more flashbacks, because he shows up there, and he's also the American sergeant who teaches Saeed how to torture.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, that's a rich character, this soldier who got recruited to the Dharma Initiative after the Gulf War somehow, and now pushes a button forever.
But we never see him again.
So yeah, overall, like, Desmond's drunk, and then Libby gives him a boat. And that's
the episode.
That's the episode mostly.
It really is about watching Desmond be belligerent.
It's really about watching a side of Desmond that we've never really seen, at least not to this extent. Which is him,
not to this extent.
Which is him being a belligerent drunk on the island and a belligerent sailor on the flashback.
Just like having this crazy delusional plan.
Yeah, exactly. Like
being very bad at problem solving.
He's not a good problem solver, turns out. He hasn't quite figured out how to solve a problem.
It's like someone would be like, "Hey, Desmond, we need to build this wall of bricks." And he'd be like, "Bring in the bulldozers. We're making a gazebo." I don't know.
Do you guys have
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's what it is.
We need to build this wall of bricks, and then he would say,
"I have a gun."
Yes, that is exactly it.
If I shoot the bricks, does that happen? I bet if I shoot one of the bricks enough, the other bricks will just form a wall naturally, because
Brick's
they'll have
dad
their
will be so impressed.
The rich character of Brick's dad. What do you say we roll our fresh new episode?
Yeah, let's find something else to watch. I'm going to go on random.org, a true random number.
Do you think we should watch an episode of Lost this time?
What's that?
Should we watch an episode of Lost this time, do you think?
Yeah, not the drunk Desmond show.
Yeah, as much as I like the drunk... would you watch 121 hours of the drunk Desmond show is a real question. No. Would you watch...
I'd watch like 4 more hours of it.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a mini series.
Yeah. Totally. Mm-hmm. The drunk Desmond web series.
Yes, the mobisode.
All right, I rolled and we got 65. Which I think that would be... late season 3, early season 4.
Hold on. Okay, no, I don't think we've done this one. This is season 6, episode 16, One of Us, which is a Juliet episode.
Season 6?
Sorry, season 3, episode 16.
Season 3, episode 16.
Yes.
One of Us.
Which
is Juliet.
It's a Juliet episode. I think this might be our last Juliet episode, actually.
Oh, wow. She was the protagonist for a while.
She was, and now we're going to say goodbye to her episodes forever.
Well, that's beautiful.
It's a beautiful tale, isn't it? Isn't it a beautiful tale?
Isn't it a beautiful tale?
As Desmond would say, isn't it a beautiful tale?
Brother.
Hey, thanks for listening to the show about Lost, and we do it, and we're happy about it. You can follow us on Twitter at Island Shuffle. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Island Shuffle. And guess what else you can do is give us a positive word.
Give us a review on Facebook.
On Facebook, on Twitter.
Google Maps,
on Yelp.
If you find the island in the ocean.
Yes, let us know and review it.
Yeah.
And be sure to shuffle it. And yeah, I've been Dean.
I've been James.
Thanks again for listening. And like we say at